Good afternoon. Today we will be reviewing the book Mindful Parenting, Finding Space to be in a World of To-Do, written by Bogels 2020. This book includes many mindful exercise guidelines and introduces different aspects of mindful parenting. It emphasizes the importance of being present without judgment and developing self-compassion so that parental stress can be reduced and parents can also be more aware of the true nature of their children. While conflicts may initially appear detrimental to relationships, proper resolution can actually foster growth. The impacts of guilt and shame on parenting are also discussed, noting that guilt can be surprisingly more functional. Finally, it highlights the importance of reflecting on personal childhood experiences and schemas that influence parenting behavior. Among the many aspects discussed, we will focus on the role of judgment in mindful parenting.
In Chapter 4 of the book, it is mentioned that parents can sometimes become overly identified with their thoughts and concerns about their own social standing, desiring for their children to meet their self-expectations. However, mindful parenting suggests that parents should pay attention to what their children actually experience and to their true nature, helping them to reach their own potential and remain authentic to themselves. The question then arises, how should parents strike a balance between respecting their children's talents, nature, and interests while maintaining sensible expectations that provide appropriate guidance for their children to navigate life? Chapter 7 of the book addresses boundaries, emphasizing their importance in protecting parents' internal resources, thereby preventing reactive parenting and promoting more socially acceptable behavior in children. It focuses on how to set boundaries based on parents' mental states and moral or society rules, highlighting the need to communicate boundaries informatively without undermining children's creativity. However, it doesn't adequately address situations involving high-stake decisions. How can a parent practice mindful parenting that respects their children's needs and interests while also providing appropriate guidance? Consider a scenario. Imagine your child, who is in high school, comes home one day and expresses a keen interest in playing basketball. He believes that he is talented enough to become a professional player and wishes to quit school to pursue professional training. In this case, it is not merely about setting boundaries based on the parent's psychological capacity or societal rules, but rather a dilemma between respecting the child's autonomy and being responsible in guiding them. What should a mindful parent do in such a situation? Should we remain entirely non-judgmental?
Our answer is no, as children lack the ability to make high-stake decisions independently. In terms of brain structures, according to Koch and Rakich 2021, the prefrontal cortex is considered to be the substrate of highest cognitive functions, and the development of higher-order cognitive functions, such as language and intelligence, continue to develop into adulthood, meaning these abilities are still developing throughout adolescence and early adulthood, and they are not finished at the end of childhood or in early adolescence. This is further supported by Sherman et al. 2017, who claimed the medial prefrontal cortex to be the most commonly implicated region related to risk-taking. In terms of behavior, according to a meta-analysis in 2015, adolescents and children take equal levels of risk, which is higher than that of adults. This shows that children have a higher chance to make undesirable decisions even if they have already grown into adolescence. Then, what should a mindful parent do instead? First, some non-negotiable rules are essential. Haya et al. 2022 showed that adolescents perceived demandingness in parenting, which is measured by items like "my parent has rules that I must follow," is positively associated with better academic achievements and self-efficacy when parental responsiveness is high. This revealed that appropriate rules and demands from parents can benefit children academically and psychologically. Therefore, non-negotiable baselines, which children may not think about beforehand or understand at the age, are necessary. The rationale of these strict ground rules is closer to protection rather than controlling.
Second, autonomy-supportive parenting, which involves parents collaborating with their children in decision-making rather than exerting control over them, is suggested. Benito Gomez et al. 2020 noted that autonomy-supportive parenting consists of two major components, the promotion of independence and the promotion of volitional functioning. Parents who engage in promoting independence encourage their children to make their own decisions. They promote self-reliance instead of conformity to parental opinions. while the promotion of volitional functioning emphasizes that parents should ensure their children's behaviors align with their true, authentic self. This type of parenting does not mean that parents simply leave their children to make individual decisions alone. Rather, it involves understanding children's perspective empathetically through open discussions. As suggested by Sonens et al. 2007, such conversations encourage the exchange of ideas, allowing children to express themselves freely, while parents communicate expectations, choices, and provide meaningful explanations, even in cases of prohibitions. Van Penegem et al. 2017 indicated that such communication style promotes less resistance towards opposing ideas and fosters a more genuine acceptance and internalization of parental opinions among youngsters. Parental involvement without over-control also enhances decision-making competence among youth, as suggested by Weller et al. 2025. Such a supportive and collaborative approach can mitigate risk while preserving children's autonomy in decision-making.
In the basketball case mentioned earlier, quitting high school for a basketball dream is a high-risk gamble, as only an extremely small proportion of them can become professionals. However, the child may still risk doing so due to his higher tendency of taking risks and inability to weigh long-term consequences. Even if he succeeds in becoming a pro player, he will still need knowledge from school to transit to other jobs after their short career ends due to age or injuries. Therefore, parents must set graduation as a non-negotiable condition, since it's a safety floor that protects the child's future, regardless of whether his dream comes true or not.
A mindful parent should also engage in open discussions with their child, encouraging passions by providing various opportunities for skill development, while at the same time implementing safeguards such as education. The parent can explain why quitting high school may not be a wise decision at such a young age. By cooperating, both parent and child can ensure that their perspectives are considered and respected when making high-stake decisions.
Throughout the whole mindfulness program, we keep practicing how to be non-judgmental. However, being too non-judgmental is not always good. From this book, we understand sometimes parents have to be judgmental in order to guide their children properly. And remember in the last lesson, it was mentioned that individuals with higher mindfulness score tend to make more unethical decisions under stressful conditions. So, what degree of non-judgmental thoughts should we hold when treating ourselves? We must first draw a sharp distinction between thoughts and behaviors. When it comes to thoughts, we can be gentle and forgiving ourselves. It's okay to dislike someone, even without a justified reason. It is also normal to have thoughts that contradict with general morality sometimes. We do not have to deny or feel guilty about these thoughts the moment they appear, but we can gently recognize and accept them. If they are genuinely harmful, just work to correct them. When it comes to behavior, however, the standard must be far stricter. It is not acceptable to harm another person physically, psychologically, or socially, such as spreading rumors or damaging one's reputation. We must not harm ourselves physically either. If we know that a behavior will cause damage, we have a clear duty to suppress it. Unlike thoughts, immoral behavior is not something we can simply accept and move past. It must be stopped at the very first place. The consequences of it affect real lives, which is why judgmental thought must set in.
Second, for emotions, practicing mindfulness can help us be aware of our emotions and allow them to pass through. Having acceptance and compassion towards our feelings can improve our self-care. However, when things become too overwhelming and out of control, we shouldn't just let them be. We need to be motivated to seek help. Promoting a completely non-judgmental mindset towards emotions may put us at risk of psychopathology. We might come to think that our current state is just how we are, allowing ourselves to remain in depressed and anxious moods without any intention to change. Therefore, while mindfulness helps us identify feelings and offer space to experience them with clarity, we should also aim for changes. The mindset of wanting to change can be seen as a form of judgment. However, appropriate judgment does not deteriorate our well-being. Rather, it helps us strive for better health and happiness instead of simply immersing ourselves in unpleasantness. Knowing when to be judgmental and when to be fully accepting requires wisdom. We would like to end our podcast with the Serenity Prayer by Reinhold. It is hoped that when practicing mindfulness, we all have the serenity to accept things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you very much for listening.